What if the trash in your home could become the doorway to a fairy tale? Imagine a Hobbit garden glowing with lanterns made from bottles, towers rising from tin cans, and enchanted doors built from broken plates. This is ModHaus DIY, and today we're diving into 15 whimsical autumn upcycling ideas you'll never believe. In this video, you'll find inspiration, timestamps to guide you, and ideas that can be recreated anywhere with what you already have. If you're ready, let's bring a little magic into your garden. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content is a real dream and a real family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe keeps this dream alive. Thank you for being here, and thank you for seeing me. As autumn settles into the garden, twilight brings with it a hush, a quiet pause before night unfurls. In that delicate in-between, small lanterns begin to glow. From afar, they look like clusters of fireflies caught mid-flight, their light pulsing gently among the branches. But as you step closer, you see their humble secret: each glowing vessel was once just a discarded plastic bottle. What once carried soda or water now carries wonder. Painted in golden tones, wrapped with twine, and decorated with pressed leaves, the bottles no longer speak of waste. Instead, they whisper stories of light. Inside, tiny bulbs flicker like living creatures, mimicking the soft dance of fireflies that once filled autumn evenings long ago. Children are the first to notice. They run beneath the branches, their laughter echoing through the cool air, believing that fairies have strung fireflies into jars as gifts for the season. Adults linger too, caught by a quiet nostalgia, remembering the magic of nights when fireflies were plentiful, when one could cup them in gentle hands and watch them glow like captured stars. The lanterns transform more than just plastic, they transform the entire garden. A wooden fence becomes a glowing boundary, a stone path becomes a trail of light, and every pumpkin and fallen leaf shines brighter in their presence. They turn ordinary corners into fairy tale scenes, weaving together recycling and reverie with effortless grace. But perhaps the greatest beauty of these lanterns is the reminder they hold, that even the simplest, most overlooked things can carry light. A bottle, once bound for the trash, becomes a vessel of warmth and imagination. It proves that transformation is not only possible, it is radiant. As night deepens and the stars appear above, the firefly lanterns glow steadily, neither fading nor tiring. They seem to stand guard, holding autumn's magic in their soft light. And in their quiet glow, the garden feels alive with possibility, an invitation to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, and to believe that even in discarded things, beauty waits to be found. In the quiet hush of autumn, where leaves scatter across the soil and twilight lingers longer each evening, small towers rise from the earth. They are not carved from stone nor built from wood. They are born from the most unassuming of objects, tin cans, reshaped by cement and imagination into Hobbit towers that seem to belong in a world half hidden from ours. The cans, once plain and disposable, now stand proudly with textured walls. Cement coats their surface, painted carefully to resemble bricks softened by moss. Small round doors invite the eye, their colors bright against the muted gray, red, green, even gold, each one a gateway into an imagined story. Windows glow with a gentle light at dusk, as if someone within has just lit a candle for supper. Children crouch low, certain that hobbits or fairies must dwell inside. They invent tales of tiny feasts and songs rising through the chimneys. Adults smile quietly, caught between disbelief and nostalgia, charmed by how waste has been reborn as whimsy. Placed in clusters, these towers transform the garden into a miniature village. Pumpkins sit nearby like oversized props, while ivy crawls naturally up their sides, blurring the line between craft and nature. When lanterns flicker in the background, the scene feels alive, like a page torn from a storybook. There is poetry in their presence. Tin cans, once emptied and forgotten, stand now as symbols of transformation, trash into treasure, ordinary into extraordinary. They remind us that beauty is not found in what something is, but in what it can become when imagination takes root. As the night deepens and the cool air wraps the garden, the Hobbit towers continue to glow softly. They whisper a gentle truth to every passerby, that even the smallest scraps of life can build entire worlds of wonder, if only we choose to see them differently. In the cool breath of autumn evenings, when mist drapes low and stars shimmer above, the garden takes on a new kind of magic. Among the ivy and pumpkins, glass jars gleam, potions of stardust, glowing as though they have captured fragments of the night sky itself. Once ordinary vessels that held jam, pickles, or sauces, these jars now hold wonder. Twine wraps their necks, corks seal their tops, and rune symbols mark their sides with mystery. Inside, glitter drifts in colored water, catching light from hidden LEDs that flicker like faraway constellations. Each jar feels alive, a small universe contained within fragile glass. Children peer close, their eyes wide with awe. They whisper about fairies who might have brewed these glowing elixirs under the moonlight, or wizards who stored bits of magic to keep the night alive. Adults pause too, caught in nostalgia, remembering when even the simplest glow could ignite belief in something greater. The jars transform corners of the garden into enchanted apothecaries. Placed on a wooden shelf, they resemble potion shops from fairy tales. Arranged in circles, they become altars of wonder. Scattered along pathways, they guide footsteps like lanterns in a storybook forest. Each setting feels deliberate, though born of the simplest act, seeing beyond glass and waste, into possibility. There is poetry in their glow. Glass, once destined for recycling bins, now radiates warmth. What was once ordinary becomes extraordinary, not by changing its nature, but by unveiling the beauty already waiting within. The jars whisper softly that magic is never far. It is hidden in corners, waiting to be recognized. As the night deepens, the potion lights shimmer steadily. They do not dim with the chill of the air. Instead, they shine brighter, echoing the stars above, as if the earth itself has grown a second sky within the garden. And in their gentle glow, one feels the truth: even the smallest vessel can hold the universe, if we allow imagination to pour itself inside. In the soft hush of an autumn evening, a garden path beckons. It is not made of stone or gravel, but of bottle caps, ordinary lids, once tossed aside, now reborn as a trail of spirals and symbols. Each cap gleams with color, painted in the hues of fall, amber, crimson, gold. Upon their surfaces, rune marks glow faintly in the fading light, whispering of secrets known only to the earth. At first glance, the path seems playful, like a child's game scattered across the soil. But as footsteps trace the spiral, something deeper stirs. The arrangement feels intentional, like an invitation. Children sense it immediately. They skip along the trail, pausing at each rune to invent its meaning. One rune promises luck, another whispers courage, another marks the entrance to a fairy's hidden door. Adults smile as they watch, their own curiosity reawakened, reminded that even the ground beneath their feet can hold stories. The bottle caps, weathered and scratched, no longer carry the memory of what they once sealed. They carry something greater now, a story of transformation, of magic born from what was meant to be discarded. Between them, moss curls and ivy spreads, softening the harshness of metal, blending craft with nature until it feels inevitable, as though the garden itself wanted this path to exist. At night, lanterns glow nearby, their warm light catching the edges of the painted runes. The spirals appear to shimmer, alive with movement. From a distance, the path could be mistaken for a constellation fallen to the ground, a mirror of the sky laid out beneath autumn leaves. The beauty of this creation lies not only in its charm, but in its message. Waste becomes wonder, the overlooked becomes sacred. The bottle cap spiral rune path reminds us that meaning can be made anywhere, even in the smallest things underfoot. It asks us to slow down, to walk with intention, and to believe that every step we take might carry us deeper into a story. In a forgotten corner of the garden, where the air is heavy with the scent of damp leaves and wood smoke, a castle rises, not of stone or steel, but of cardboard. Its walls are painted in muted grays, its towers crowned with cutout moons and stars. From its tiny windows, warm amber light spills out, as though fairies have taken up residence inside. The castle is humble in its bones. Cardboard boxes, once holding groceries or shoes, now stand proudly as towers and turrets. Yet in their transformation, they hold a power greater than any fortress, they hold imagination. The windows, carefully cut, glow with the soft flicker of hidden lanterns. Shadows stretch across the ivy that climbs its sides, making the structure seem almost alive, as if stories echo within its walls. Children gather around it quickly, their breath rising in the cool autumn air. They press their faces close, peering through the tiny windows, convinced that a feast is underway inside, a gathering of fairies, perhaps, or hobbits sharing laughter and bread. Adults pause too, drawn not only by the charm of the scene but by a quiet wonder that something so fragile could feel so timeless. The castle is both delicate and enduring. Rain and wind may wear it down, but for now, in this season, it holds its place as a beacon of whimsy. Autumn leaves gather at its base like a golden moat, while pumpkins guard its entrance like watchful sentries. At twilight, when the lanterns glow and the garden hums with the last sounds of the day, The castle feels as though it belongs to another realm entirely, one just beyond the reach of ordinary life. There is beauty in its imperfection. Cardboard creases become ancient cracks, brushstrokes of paint turn into weathered stone, and pressed leaves act as stained glass windows. It is proof that magic does not require permanence. It asks only for attention, care, and the willingness to imagine. And so, the cardboard moon castle stands as a reminder that even the most fragile things can hold great strength, that discarded scraps can rise as symbols of wonder, and that sometimes the most enchanting places are not built to last forever, but to inspire, here and now. Among the golden hush of autumn, where pumpkins rest heavy on the soil and leaves scatter like confetti, small toadstools appear. They are not ordinary mushrooms but whimsical creations, egg cartons, cut and painted until they resemble tiny pumpkins that have sprung from the earth as if conjured by fairies. Their caps glow with warm orange tones, dotted with playful white speckles. The stems, painted in shades of soft green, rise sturdily from mossy ground. Some lean together in clusters like families gathered for a harvest feast, while others stand alone, proud and glowing under the fading light. The illusion is so gentle, so convincing, that children often crouch low to inspect them, certain they've discovered a magical species unique to autumn nights. Adults, too, pause with smiles, touched by the memory of simpler times, when mushrooms and pumpkins alike seemed woven into fairy tales. There is something both playful and poetic in these small sculptures, born not of soil and rain, but of discarded cartons once holding fragile eggs. They remind us that fragility can give way to resilience, and that beauty often blooms from the humblest beginnings. In the evening, some toadstools glow faintly with hidden fairy lights tucked beneath their caps. The garden transforms into a scene out of folklore, where hobbits might wander through with lanterns, and fairies might dance in circles around the glowing pumpkin fungi. The air, cool and sweet with the scent of fallen leaves, feels thicker with possibility. The magic lies not only in their look but in their meaning. Egg cartons, often overlooked and tossed aside, become vessels of joy, play, and imagination. They prove that even what is considered waste can bring delight, can spark stories, can transform the atmosphere of a garden corner. And as the night deepens, with stars overhead and the rustle of dry leaves underfoot, the pumpkin toadstools remain. They do not fade with the season. Instead, they stand quietly, whimsical guardians of autumn's charm, whispering to anyone who notices them, magic is always closer than you think. When autumn winds whisper through the garden, carrying with them the scent of wood smoke and the rustle of golden leaves, they find new companions dancing in the air, wind spinners, crafted not from glass or metal, but from humble milk cartons. Each carton, once emptied and forgotten, has been cut and curled into spirals, painted in the colors of the season, burnt orange, ruby red, golden yellow. As the breeze moves through, they spin lightly, catching the last rays of the sun and scattering reflections across the garden floor. The effect is mesmerizing, like leaves caught mid-dance, suspended in a moment of joy. Children stop to watch, their laughter mixing with the sound of turning spinners. They chase the shadows that whirl across the soil, certain that fairies are playing just out of sight. Adults linger too, drawn by the simple charm of the scene, the way something so ordinary has been reborn into a celebration of the season. Placed along fences, from branches, or near doorways, the spinners add movement to the stillness of autumn gardens. At dusk, lantern light reflects off their painted surfaces, giving them the glow of tiny fire wheels spinning softly in the cool air. Their presence feels whimsical yet grounded, as if the garden itself has chosen to decorate for the season with treasures made from what others might throw away. There is poetry in their spin. Milk cartons, designed only to hold and be discarded, become vessels of delight. They teach us that beauty is not about perfection, but about transformation, about looking at what is already in our hands and imagining it differently. As the evening settles deeper, the wind spinners continue to turn, steady and playful. They whisper a truth carried on the breeze, that magic does not need to be sought in distant places. It can be made here, in the garden, from the simplest of scraps. And sometimes, all it takes to set it in motion is a little wind, a little care, and a heart open to wonder. On crisp autumn evenings, when the garden carries the scent of damp earth and wood smoke, small cauldrons appear, though not made of iron or bronze. They are old mugs and chipped teacups, repainted, repurposed, and reborn as vessels of enchantment. Once simple containers for tea and coffee, they now hold shimmering potions. Some glow green like captured forest light, others swirl violet like twilight skies, while a few sparkle amber, echoing the glow of harvest lanterns. Tiny beads, glitter, or LED lights inside create the illusion of bubbling brews, as though witches have brewed secrets just for the garden. Children lean close, whispering guesses of what each potion might do. One could grant invisibility, another might make pumpkins sing, while the brightest of them all might call fireflies back into the air. Adults smile quietly, charmed by the transformation of something so ordinary into something so whimsical. There is comfort in seeing the overlooked given a second chance, made magical with just a touch of imagination. Arranged on mossy stones or tucked near fences, the mugs glow warmly against the autumn backdrop. Fallen leaves curl around their bases, ivy drapes across their handles, and pumpkins rest like companions nearby. In the hush of evening, the mugs seem to breathe light, as though they truly carry the spirit of potions within them. Their beauty lies not in perfection but in reinvention. Cracks, chips, and faded patterns become part of their story, proof that age and wear do not diminish worth. Instead, they add to the charm, making each mug unique in its new life. As twilight deepens and the garden grows still, the witches' mini cauldrons shine brighter, guardians of quiet wonder. They remind us that magic does not require spells or incantations. Sometimes it only requires seeing what is already there, an old mug, a moment of care, and a willingness to believe that even the smallest vessels can hold enchantment. At the base of a tree where ivy curls and roots twist into the soil, a door waits. It is not grand, nor made of iron or oak, but round and simple, transformed into enchantment by fragments of broken plates. Their shards, once sharp reminders of accidents at the table, now glisten as pieces of a mosaic that breathes new life into the door. Each fragment holds a memory. A chipped blue porcelain petal that once rimmed a family's tea set. A piece of terracotta that once carried soup on a winter's night. A sliver of golden rim that once framed celebrations. Now, they come together, not as remnants of the past, but as a new beginning. Together, they form spirals, flowers, and stars, catching lantern light like stained glass. Children approach in wonder, kneeling low to trace the patterns. They whisper to one another, asking if hobbits or fairies live inside, if the glow from within belongs to a warm fire or a secret feast. Adults pause longer, their gazes soft with nostalgia. They see more than just brokenness repurposed, they see resilience, beauty stitched back together in unexpected ways. By day, the door shines in sunlight, colors bright against the bark and stone. By night, lanterns flicker on either side, and the mosaic glows warmly, as though alive with hidden stories. Pumpkins rest at the threshold, leaves gather gently, and the door seems less like decoration and more like a portal, a passage to somewhere both magical and familiar. The door's charm lies in its contradictions. Brokenness made whole. Fragility reborn into strength. Waste turned into wonder. It is proof that what seems ruined can become radiant, that endings can lead to new beginnings when seen with fresh eyes. And so, the broken plate enchanted Hobbit door stands as a keeper of imagination. Not just a garden accent, but a reminder that magic often hides in fragments, waiting for someone to piece them back together into a story worth believing. In the heart of an autumn garden, where air carries the scent of wood smoke and soil damp with fallen leaves, a circle rises, a moon gate, not carved from stone but woven from branches. Its frame is imperfect yet graceful, curved by the natural bend of twigs gathered from the earth. Bound with twine and adorned with autumn leaves, it stands as both gateway and guardian, whispering of stories beyond. Children are drawn to it first, racing through the circle with laughter, certain that each passage carries them deeper into a fairy tale realm. They pause mid-run, gazing back in wonder, convinced the garden behind them has shifted subtly, just enough to feel magical. Adults linger too, caught by the arch's quiet poetry, reminded of old legends where moon gates were portals to harmony, luck, or even other worlds. By day, the arch frames the garden like a picture. Pumpkins rest at its feet, ivy climbs its edges, and sunlight slips through its woven cracks. By night, lanterns twinkle along its curve, and the circle glows as if it has caught a piece of the moon itself. Shadows ripple across the ground, and the arch feels alive, an invitation to step not just forward, but inward, into imagination. Its beauty lies in simplicity. Tree branches, once fallen and overlooked, find new life here. They need no perfection to hold meaning. Their knots and bends become character, their roughness speaks of resilience. Together, they remind us that magic is not found in polished surfaces, but in the raw grace of nature repurposed with care. The tree branch moon gate arch does more than decorate. It transforms the garden into a stage where everyday life brushes against enchantment. Each step through its circle feels symbolic, of endings, beginnings, or journeys yet unseen. And as autumn deepens, with golden leaves gathering at its base and the night sky arching above, the moon gate stands steady. Not as an escape, but as a reminder, that beauty can be crafted from what falls, and that in every garden, there waits a doorway into wonder. At the edge of the garden, where shadows lengthen and the soil carries the scent of rain and fallen leaves, a circle rests upon the ground. It is not carved into the earth, nor fenced by wood, but traced gently with pebbles, each one hand-painted with runes that seem to whisper when the breeze passes over them. Children are always the first to discover it. They kneel to trace the spiral marks, whispering questions. What do the symbols mean? Did fairies leave them here as instructions? Is this the place where they dance at night, unseen by mortal eyes? Their wonder is contagious, spilling into the laughter of those who watch, adults included. By day, the circle is a quiet accent, stones resting calmly on moss and soil, framed by ivy and scattered leaves. But as dusk falls and lanterns glow nearby, the runes appear to shimmer faintly. The circle takes on a presence, as though alive with a secret rhythm. Some say the garden itself breathes differently around it, softer, slower, more intentional. Its magic is not loud, nor is it forced. It lies in the ordinary made extraordinary. Pebbles that once lined pathways or rested unnoticed in the dirt now hold the weight of stories. Painted with symbols, they remind us of forgotten languages, of times when the earth was read like a book and stones were markers of meaning. The fairy circle does not lead anywhere visible, yet those who stand within it often feel changed. Perhaps lighter, perhaps more curious. It offers no answers, only questions, and in that mystery lies its charm. As autumn deepens, the circle becomes part of the season's tapestry. Mushrooms rise at its edges, moss thickens beneath it, and fallen leaves form a golden crown around its rim. At night, when the stars appear overhead, the fairy circle with runes feels less like decoration and more like a threshold, reminding us that every garden holds a doorway into imagination, if only we dare to step inside. In the quiet glow of autumn, where lantern light flickers and leaves rustle softly on the ground, guardians appear in the garden. They are not made of marble or iron, nor do they roar with fire. Instead, they are dragons born of garden hoses, spirals of rubber reborn as protectors of whimsy. The hose, once weathered and cracked, finds new life when curled into the shape of a dragon's body. Spirals become coils of strength, painted with scales in deep emerald and shimmering bronze. Twigs or wire form the horns, while eyes are painted to gleam with mischief. From a distance, they seem to shift in the half-light, as though alive, coiled and ready to move. Children approach with awe, circling the dragons, whispering that they must come alive at night when no one is watching. Some claim they hear them hum, like the garden itself breathing through them. Adults chuckle, charmed by the transformation of something once so mundane into a creature of legend. Placed at garden paths, they act as sentinels, quiet guardians that turn each step into an adventure. Nestled among pumpkins or moss, they look as though they've always been there, resting in the garden's embrace. Lanterns placed near their spirals cast shadows that ripple like movement, making them seem almost alive in the autumn dusk. Their beauty lies in paradox. A hose, designed only for work, now carries imagination. What was once cast aside becomes an emblem of creativity, a reminder that even forgotten tools can carry stories. They invite us to look again, to see not just what an object is, but what it might become. As the night deepens and stars shine above, the dragon spirals remain silent, steady, magical. They remind us that gardens are more than soil and seed. They are places where myths can live, where even trash can breathe fire again, softly, in the glow of imagination. In the heart of autumn, when gardens hum with harvest and the earth smells of fallen leaves, old boots find a new life. Once worn thin by journeys and rain, now cracked and softened with age, they no longer walk. Instead, they bloom, reborn as planters cradling miniature pumpkins, trailing vines, and autumn flowers. Each boot tells a story. A leather scuff here, a frayed lace there, all whispers of paths once taken. Now those marks frame something new, pumpkins spilling from the tops like treasures unearthed, marigolds glowing in fiery orange, and ivy weaving gracefully down their sides. What was once ordinary footwear becomes a vessel of wonder, standing proudly in the soil. Children stop to laugh at the sight. They imagine hobbits using boots as gardens of their own, or fairies curling up inside the toes as shelter from the crisp evening air. Adults pause too, a quiet smile forming, touched by the unexpected poetry of it, shoes that once carried feet now carrying life. Set along fences or resting on mossy stones, the boots blend perfectly into the autumn landscape. Lanterns nearby cast a warm glow over their surfaces, while leaves gather naturally at their bases. The effect is whimsical, as though the garden has decided to play, to dress itself not only in pumpkins and vines but also in stories stitched from scraps. Their magic lies in their transformation. Boots, designed for wear and discarded when tired, now stand as proof that nothing truly loses worth. They remind us that endings can become beginnings, and that even the most weathered of objects can carry new purpose if we choose to see them differently. As twilight deepens and the air grows cooler, the pumpkin planters seem almost alive, glowing softly in the lantern light. They are not just decorations but guardians of imagination, inviting anyone who passes to see beauty where it was once overlooked. And in their quiet presence, they whisper, every step, even the worn and weary ones, can lead to wonder. When night falls gently across the garden, shadows stretch and cool winds sweep through the trees. It is then that the fairy orbs awaken, golden lights that glow softly as though they carry pieces of the sun. Yet these radiant treasures are not spun from spells, but from something humble and forgotten, old light bulbs. Once burned out and set aside, the bulbs are reborn with a touch of paint and imagination. Their glass is coated in shimmering gold, etched with rune-like patterns that seem to catch and hold light. Wire wings sprout from their sides, delicate and whimsical, giving them the air of enchanted creatures caught mid-flight. Suspended from branches or resting in mossy corners, they glow warmly, scattering amber light across the soil and leaves. Children see them first, running beneath their glow and whispering of captured fireflies, or golden seeds dropped from a passing star. To them, the orbs are alive, guardians of the garden, each carrying a secret wish. Adults smile too, their faces softening in the warm light, remembering nights when even the smallest spark felt like magic. The orbs transform the garden into a dreamscape. Paths become golden trails, ivy walls shimmer like woven fabric, and pumpkins glisten as though kissed by moonlight. Their glow is steady but gentle, never harsh, an invitation rather than a command, a warmth that soothes as much as it enchants. Their magic lies not only in their beauty, but in their message. Light bulbs, once symbols of utility, discarded when spent, now shine again, not with electricity, but with imagination. They remind us that nothing is truly useless, that even what has gone dark can glow once more when seen with kinder eyes. As autumn deepens and stars scatter above, the golden fairy orbs mirror the heavens, tiny suns glowing in the garden below. They stand as proof that magic does not fade, it only waits for us to rekindle it, to see beyond the ordinary, and to believe once more in wonder. In the hush of autumn evenings, when the air carries the cool sweetness of fallen leaves, wings appear in the garden. They are not borne by living butterflies, yet they shimmer as though left behind by magical creatures. Crafted from the simplest of things, wire hangers reshaped, fabric stretched, paint brushed, they rest quietly, waiting to be discovered. The frames are delicate, bent into soft arcs that mimic the fragile strength of wings. Over them, translucent fabric stretches like stained glass, painted in amber, crimson, and gold. In daylight, they glisten against the backdrop of ivy and moss. At dusk, when lanterns glow, they catch the light, glowing softly as though they truly hold the last fire of autumn within them. Children approach with wide eyes, certain that fairies must have slipped from these wings, leaving them behind like forgotten garments. They run their fingers along the curves, whispering stories of invisible beings who might return at night to reclaim their treasures. Adults linger too, struck by how simple scraps, wire, fabric, glitter, can become so achingly beautiful. Placed against fences, nestled in flower beds, or standing upright in soil, the butterfly wings transform their surroundings. They are both sculpture and symbol, a reminder that even what is rigid and cast aside can be reshaped into grace. They do not flutter on the wind, yet they evoke flight, freedom, and wonder, as though the garden itself dreams of lifting into the sky. Their charm lies not only in their appearance, but in what they represent. Wire hangers, often overlooked, designed for utility alone, now stand as vessels of imagination. They remind us that beauty can be coaxed from the most ordinary things, and that creativity has the power to give wings to what was once grounded. As the night deepens, the sculptures glow in the lantern light, quiet and steady. They do not move, yet they inspire movement of thought and heart. In their stillness, they whisper, even when wings are lost, the dream of flight remains. And in gardens like these, dreams are never too heavy to rise. And that brings us to the end of our magical autumn journey, where trash transforms into treasure, and a simple garden becomes a fairy tale world. Which idea captured your imagination the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your ideas help inspire the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our growing Scrap Soil Studio family. With your support, we'll continue to create magic, one upcycled idea at a time.